All right. All right, Shalom.
Shalom.
All right, before we get started, we want to give all the glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Ruach Kodash. All right, double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And peace and safety to all the sincere occupants out here pushing this word, all right? So we just finished up another day at camp. And we just do a quick little lesson, still in the spirit. And we're just going to go into, men just waxing worse and worse. Even within the so-called Israelites, more and more men. There's a guy that we was watching a video of. I'm not gonna really mention his name at this point, but he was just going slap off, just in what he was talking about, and certain men, which had a right to be offended by it, it was offensive, because we love and worship Mashiach Yahweh Shai through and his father, so we take this serious, but at the same time we have to apply the scriptures, and the scriptures tell us that these things have to happen and will happen. So again, it's not necessary, and that's the only reason we're doing this lesson, is to just put the spirit out there that men are going to bug out. More bug outs are going to pop up, more off doctrines are going to pop up, more just wicked men in general are going to pop up, especially in this cosmos of Israel, So we're going to go in the scriptures, man. I'll make this too long. If you want to start from the top.
Come on. This is 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1. It says, this know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come.
Yeah, and we're clearly in the last moments of the last days. All right, the last days started when Yahweh Shai was born on the earth over 2,000 years ago. So what more are we in these last days? All right, this is talking to us right now. So it says, and knowing that in the last days perilous times shall come, and we're witnessing that. Everybody's on edge in the world, man. Terroristic attacks, nations raising up against nations, rumors of war, pestilence. Hell, it's perilous times right here in Atlanta, man. They just released a stat that roughly 30,000+ people live within the city of Atlanta, all right, with HIV/AIDS, all right? And then, they said that so-called black women are 70% of all of them have AIDS or HIV. So that's danger, that's a pestilence, Whether the statistics are skewed or not, it's irrelevant, but the fact of it all is that there's a lot of things out here that are perilous and dangerous.
Yeah, those bomb threats we had.
You had a lot of bomb threats here, just plenty of things, even, again, riding on these roads, people are crazy, man. It's a lot of demons out here, so we're definitely in perilous times. This is not a time of peace, okay?
Okay. It says, for men shall be lovers of their own selves.
We're definitely seeing that in Israel. Israel, you got, and especially in Israel, but even outside of that, especially living here in Atlanta, Jake have a real strong, arrogant spirit on them. They feel like they're God's gift to earth. You hear Jake say, even the men and the women, that the Lord broke the mold when he made me. Because Jake is lovers of their own selves, Go ahead.
It says, for men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents.
Yeah, you see that in Israel heavy right now, man. And the parents is, another word for parents is guardians, all right? And our spiritual parents are the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone. Look at this guy, Adam Abbott. Disrespectful, disobedient, all right? Act like you learned, give reverence to the people that you learned it from. If the people that you had enough trust to learn it from tells you that you're wrong, just humble down and just take the correction. It's okay to be wrong sometimes. It's what you do when you're wrong is what shows, your integrity, if you have integrity or not, right? Go ahead.
It says, unthankful.
Yeah, these characters, they're unthankful. They act like, again, they have that I'm God's gift to earth spirit on them. So they act like as if, I didn't get this from no man. I got this straight from the spirit. That's unthankful. When you know in good goddamn well that you did receive it from men through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahweh The spirit didn't come directly to you and tell you, hey, well, this is the breakdown Revelation 13, 18, you know, 2 Ezra 15. The Spirit didn't do that. The Spirit led you to men that had it, all right? So you got to be thankful, you know? And part of the way of being thankful is giving reverence to those men that have labored before you and praying for them, you know? Keep going.
It says unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers.
And these guys are fierce. When you listen to the account of Apostle Tahar running into Lahab, that was Apostle Tahar came at peace, came in a peaceful spirit, came in a very humble spirit, and Lahab came with a fierce spirit, you know. And if the man probably could have, but the spirit didn't allow him, he probably would have tried to put hands on Apostle, you know. And I can testify to personally of so-called niggas that call themselves Israelites being fierce. The same, you know, that when I was listening to that account, I thought about my situation. I'm not gonna speak on the situation because those that know. But I ran into a nigga, and you would have thought I ran into some nigga that don't know about the truth. You know, here it is. We may have issues according to doctrine's sake, but at the same time, the scriptures give us directions on how to be. You know, if your enemy asks for water, give them water. You know, the scriptures direct us on how to be. But niggas that don't have the Holy Spirit, they be fierce, man. They be ready to take your life before a nigga that's selling dope. Here it is. You can feel safer with a nigga that sells drugs and is a thief than being with a nigga that's off in the corner doctrine. That shows you the fierceness of a nigga, man.
Yeah, scripture tell you about them bold fellas, man.
Yeah.
Them bold fellas, man.
Yep.
Don't go around the city with a bold fella.
It says another thing about a bold fella too. They're not afraid of blood.
Yep.
It speaks about that too. You know. Keep going.
Yeah, it's dangerous, man.
It's dangerous. So you know that's other points. That's how you know we're in perilous times, because there's evils all around us at all times. Even right now, as we sitting in this car in this parking lot doing this lesson, we can't put our guards down. We still got to be in the mind frame of like, man, hope nobody ain't walking around this car, man. Seeing the cars pulling by and shit like that. So, you know, it's just, you always got to keep your head on the swivel. Why? Because this isn't a peaceful time we're in, you know? You got something?
Not yet. I'll break it out in a second. It says, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of the Most High.
And our people, they love pleasure, man. Especially here in Atlanta. Atlanta is a big pleasure city. Everything's about pleasure here. You know, you got the strip clubs. You got all kind of food and restaurants, expensive shopping, amusement parks. Any type of pleasure that you can seek for is located right here in Babylon as a whole, but especially here in Atlanta, man. This is a pleasure city. And that's why, you know, but again, how many men are standing boldly for the sake of the word? Only but a few. So that goes to show you the level of loving of pleasure that's located right here in this in the world, man. You know.
Yeah. And especially Atlanta, man. And the city caters to all pleasures. All pleasures. You know, we ain't got to name them, but you know, you can use your imagination as far as what I'm speaking about.
Yeah.
You know, this wicked city, man.
Yeah, strip clubs everywhere. You know, you'll be on a random street in some on your side of town, and there's a sex store,
gay bars,
gay clubs. You know, there's, you know, shit. We just had the MLS championship. You know, the Atlanta United just won the soccer championship. The Super Bowl is gonna be here in a few weeks. You know, they had the SEC championship here a few weeks ago. This is a city full of pleasure, man. People travel here to experience that pleasure, you know?
Oh, man, I had picked up these three guys the other night. That night, the SEC championship was coming. And it was late. It was like 1 o'clock. And I picked them up from the strip club. And they, you know, they were from Baltimore. So they just came down for the weekend and, you know, get away from their regular life and do whatever the hell they was, you know, doing that out here. And they was headed right back home like nothing happened.
That's how it go. You know, I had a professor when I was in college, and she was going into, it was like she was going into the fact of sex, sexually, the sexuality of this city and whatever the case may be. It was like sex psychology or some shit like that I was taking. And the professor was going into the fact that, you know, people don't come here for the skyline, man.
No.
You know, and she was going to the fact of why, you know, there's 1,000 conventions. When you go on Northside Drive on the other side of the Mercedes-Benz building, there's this massive the World Conference Center. The World, was it the
Congress Center?
The World Congress Center, the WCC. It's huge. They have different boats. They have different sail shows, boat shows, car shows. They have that, and then they got another huge one over there by the airport. You know. So again, all these conferences and all these conventions, they're not coming here just simply because Atlanta is such a beautiful city or the weather. And no, they plan it so that you can have your weekend. And these Edomites and these executives, they come in and they freak off. And that's what she was teaching in the class. You know, all the strip clubs, sex trafficking is high here. So this is definitely a city centered in self pleasures. Okay.
Yep. It says, verse 5 says, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof, from such turn away.
And that's the thing, you know. The guy that we're speaking on that kind of motivated me to do this lesson, you know, he had a form of godliness. He opened his video up. He gave all praises to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. He gave double honors to the apostles and elders. You know, these demons are advancing. Just because somebody gives double honors to the apostles and elders don't make them right, man. You know, he had the Bible, he had a garment on, so he had a form of godliness, but he was totally off. Yeah. So, you know, we have to be mindful of these things and trying the spirit. Matter of fact, will you get 1 John 4:1 real quick too? We have to be in the spirit of trying these spirits, whether it be of the Most High. We're going to let the scripture speak on it. But again, these off type of Israelites, it's prophetic. That's the point of this lesson. This is prophetic. This is what we're going into. So when you see these type of characters, it ain't something for you to lose the rest of your day in anger, man. Or you know, you want to get loud and carnal, or you do a lesson and you all emotional behind it, man. It's prophecy. Just as much as it's prophetic rumors and wars and rumors of wars and pestilence and earthquakes. Do we get mad when we see earthquakes? No, yeah, that's prophecy. So when you see people going off and not adhering to the sound doctrine and bugging out, you like, man, you put up a prayer and you ask the Lord to not put that spirit on you, or you Psalms 51, take not thy Holy Spirit away from me. And you just keep pushing. It's prophecy. We're prophets, and we have to be in the spirit of eyeing all these prophets. You know, you got that real quick?
Con, 1 John chapter 4, verse 1. It says, beloved, believe not every spirit.
Yeah, believe not every spirit. Just because a guy has the nice garment on, you know, a beard, you know, he got the Bible, the Kings, he know a few scriptures. You know, he got the name. You know, beloved. Say it again, read it again.
It says, beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits.
How do you try the spirit? How do you try a spirit? You try the spirit by judging it according to the spirit. Is this spirit in align with what the scriptures say? That's why you had the brother Quadar Shapat, I think I'm saying his page right, did a lesson with the men out there in Baltimore.
Oh yeah.
You know, the
Shapat 7.
Yeah, him, that brother, and about those Israelites, the branches of Israel or whatever that page is, you know, and he was like, so what if a Jake got 99.9%? He could teach everything. Chip is the mark of the beast. So-called white man's going to slavery. The rape doctrine. He could teach all those things. But if he goes off on, let's just say, Cornelius is an Edomite, you gotta throw it all out. Because
it's defiled.
It's defiled. A little leaven leaveneth up the whole lump.
Oh. I was thinking about this too. Like for instance, like let's say you got a pool of water, right? That water gets one drop of blood in it, and that pool could be 100 foot long pool, 15 feet deep. If one drop of blood hits that water, that whole entire water is contaminated.
Yeah, that's why Esau with these pools, he fills them up with all types of chemicals, so he doesn't have to go through the cleaning process of it. You know, because you're right. If even on a higher level, if you put, if I gave you a gallon of water, right, but I put a teaspoon of bleach in it, you still gonna drink it? It's still defiled. All right. So keep going on that.
It says, but try the spirits whether they are of the Most High, because many false prophets are gone out into the world.
False prophets is a major component of this walk. All right. Yahushua warned us in Matthew the 24th chapter that many false prophets shall enter the earth. Okay. False. That's part of this. So again, when you see the falseness of these men, the offness of them, you mark it, because the scriptures tell us that, mark them that cause division and teach not according to the doctrine that you have. So you mark them, you warn the people, but again, that's it. You leave it at that. You leave it to the Most High to deal with it. But again, we both personally, I can say that we've both personally been men that you get angry, especially if it's a false prophet you personally have dealt with and know. You be like, man, when the Lord gonna fuck this person up, man? But then after a while of being in that spirit of, man, I can't stand this nigga. It gets to a point where it's like, man, the Most High deal with it, man.
I ain't thinking about that no more.
Yeah, I can't think about that no more. We gotta, keep our eye on the prize and be more concerned with the salvation of the righteous instead of how the wicked shall be destroyed. Yeah. So you can drop that and we can go back to 2 Timothy's. Okay. And you know what? We'll probably get down. I would say we'll read down to I wanna definitely get to verse 8.
All right.
And we'll finish up there, and then if we do a second part, we'll do that another time.
Mm-hmm. All right, this is verse 6. It says, this is 2 Timothy 3:6. For of this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sins.
And that's a sure shot way to tell if a man is off, man. Let me be honest with you. If you go to a man's page and he has a lot of comments, and then within them comments there's a lot of women commenting, chances are that guy ain't right, man. All right. Now don't get me wrong. There are circumstances. But don't get me wrong, like you got, some of the apostles and the elders and other elders around the country, their page will have, 3, 4, 5,000 subscribers. So with that number of having 5,000 subscribers, you can be sure that there's going to be a lot of comments and a lot of likes and views and things of that nature. So that just comes with it. But you see these guys, man, and it's like this guy that we talking about, to a certain extent vaguely. You go in the comment section, the motherfucker's page, the motherfucking video had like 50 comments. I might do 50 videos and not get 50 comments. And I'm fine with that. I don't really care about, if a brother leave a comment and leave a scripture, hey, that's edifying for anybody that clicks on the video and views it. But I'm not concerned with, we're not like other YouTubers. Make sure you like. Make sure you hit that like. We don't do that shit like other YouTubers. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe and comment and share. We don't do that. It's not about that, But the point of it all is that you go on Nate's page, shitload of women in the comments.
Yeah, they the goal really is to capture the hearts of women. Really, if you think about it, you know what I'm saying? Because any man that got the spirit of the Lord is gonna be able to discern that bullshit. You gonna see, this motherfucker here, man.
Yeah, and we see it. They be in the same spirit as these pork chop eating preachers, man. These black churches are full of women and faggots, man. Women and weak men fill up the black churches, and that didn't change in Israel. You weak churches, you're full of effeminate, homosexual like men and women. You don't have men. GMS is a camp of men. The men becoming better men, stronger men, being led by other men. That's what this camp is about. All right. Now read that verse again.
Verse 6 says, for of this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women, laden with sins, led away with diverse lusts.
Yeah, because the women that go to those congregations, they're not sincerely trying to get their life together. Because the only way you can, I'm going to say this, you know, with all humility, is the only way you can really get your life together according with the doctrine of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai is through the men of Great Millstone. That's it. These other camps, they sugarcoat it. They try to make it comfortable for you. You know, they water certain parts down for women. You know, we'll tell it like it is, because the only way to get it right is to tell it like it is. You can't water down. Like, imagine if I'm sick and you have the medicine to heal me. You gonna give me a concentrated version of it? Or you gonna sell me some watered down shit? You gotta ask yourself, do you want the concentrated version or do you want the watered down shit? If you want watered down healing in this according to the scriptures, then you go to these other camps. Go to HOI, go to GOCC, go to Sakari. Because they're gonna give you a watered down version. We pour it out as the Most High poured out, without mixture. And a lot of people can't handle it without mixture, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
If you got something, you want to bring over? You can say something. You got something to say? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know, a lot of women, men, whatever, you know, they hear the truth from the apostles and the elders, but it's too harsh. You know, and you know, you go to like IUIC and they make it a fun, happy. It's always a happy event type thing, man. This is a grievous thing.
You know, when I you know, many years ago when I first started hearing about the truth, you know, this is probably like 2009 was when I started hearing about the truth, like listening to different camps. 2010, I remember exactly. It was 2010, the Passover. The Passover of 2010. I wasn't in the camp or anything yet, but I was zealous. I remember my first Passover I kept, right? I took the whole week off from work.
I remember you telling me.
Yeah, I took the whole week off from work. And I had bought a whole week worth of groceries because I was like, oh, it's a Sabbath, so they can't buy. You know, I was just you know, just zealous and didn't know, you know. Okay. But I remember the Spirit had it where I'm glad it went that way, because I had a whole week of being in the house. You see what I'm saying? So that whole week that I was in the house, I'm just studying, I'm just watching videos. At the time, I didn't know GMS. I was just watching, you know, at that time, I was following Nate. I wouldn't say following him, but I was watching his videos, you know, because it wasn't IUIC yet. It was really like him and Barak Shah, I think his name was, and they used to do their videos and shit like that. But the reason I say all that is that week, that was when I found, I had found GMS, or the Apostles and Elders, on Daily Motion. This is before I even knew anything really about YouTube, really. Before me jumping into the truth, I didn't even be on YouTube like that, you know, 2007, 2008. Nobody really wasn't using YouTube like that. We was going, World Star Hip Hop, and, you know, you was using those websites. You really wasn't on YouTube, because it was just like, you know.
The fuck is YouTube?
Fuck is YouTube, you know? But I had found the videos, right? And I remember I was watching the video, and Apostle Tahar and them, I never forget, they was going into some war. It's the war of something. And I remember I was like, man, what the fuck that got to do with the Bible? But I was young. Because like you said, this is bitter. This is strong meat here, literally. This is real. So at the time, but I'm glad the Spirit had it where I was still hungry for the truth, but I didn't understand that was actually the truth. Because you're coming from a state of being a Christian. When you go to black churches, when you grow up, they don't bring out the war. This is the war that happened in BC time, and the war that happened in the war of 1913, and World War II, Civil War. You never got it like that. So for me, it was just like, what?
They brought that history.
And I was just like, whatever. But I didn't scoff at it. I just was like, it just wasn't time yet. I remember I went back to Nate, watched him, and you know what? After a while of eating, Nate couldn't feed me. I was hungry for way more. So then what happened? I went right back to GMS, and I never left again. But I laugh at that now, because like how you just said, these other camps, it's watered down. Yeah. It's like taking a strong glass of cognac, aged and is strong, and watering it down with Coca-Cola to make it safe for you.
Yeah, put ice cubes in it.
Right, you know, put some sugar in it, you know, to water it down. That's how it be, you know. You can keep going.
Con. This is verse 7.
Mm-hmm.
It says, ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth.
Yeah, ever learning. You watch a lot of these camps, they open the Bible, they quote scriptures, precept upon precept. If you're not even built up, some of them have you where you be like, damn, that do sound right.
He's a learned man.
Yeah, he's a learned man. You know, ever learning but never coming to the truth, coming to the knowledge of the truth.
Okay.
Because the knowledge of the truth is a spirit. It's a spirit. It's the Rakar Quadash. It's the Holy Spirit. They don't have it, so they just know how to, you know, memorize. They have good memories. It's not the spirit, you know.
Yeah.
That's why when it comes down to certain pinpoints of the scripture, that's how the apostles and elders, their spirit is so exercised that they can view you and they know how to.
They know where to get you.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
They know how to pinpoint certain things that are in the spirit that if you're not led by the spirit, you're not gonna have. And they know how to pinpoint those things.
Yeah. That's a learned man right there.
Right.
Those are learned men.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they could just look at you and be like, let me just, the spirit that hit a man that knows. Let me ask you something, like your brother said. Let me ask you something. Next thing you know, you tongue tied and
or you're gonna break it down wrong because the spirit ain't dealing with you.
Yep.
You know, either you're gonna show yourself to be another man of the Lord, a younger man of the Lord, or you're gonna show yourself to be a nigga. You know.
And going back to like you mentioned in the beginning of the lesson about being wrong, man, and having that pride. Now, if you know, all right, you know you don't know, or you might have broke it down wrong. All right, I'm sorry. You're right. Let me, you know, Salah, get the water for the correction. Let me just humble down and get it together.
Mm-hmm.
But that pride, going back into that pride, man.
Mm-hmm.
Being proud.
But it said being proud, boasters, covetous, lovers of their own selves.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it comes into when we're seeing this. Like this guy Adam Abbott. I mean,
Unthankful.
I'm not. Can you? It's getting to a point now where if a man doesn't want to come under the order of GMS, there's a reason for that. And these men that don't want to do that are showing themselves why.
Yeah.
It may not happen right now. It may happen 6 months. It may happen a few years down the line. But there's a reason behind that. And the Most High let that leaven up, and it just spills out, man. Why would a guy like Adam Abbott? Me personally, when I thought about joining a camp, I never even considered other camps. Hell, I didn't even consider opening my own thing. I knew I needed to be, because it tells us in the book of Galatians about being appointed under tutors and governors. So you need that aspect. It takes a strong spirit to just say, I'm just going to go out there and not be under order. I'm going to be under my own, which that's an off spirit, you know? The book of John speaks about that. Men trying to come in another way, man.
Creep in through the side door.
Don't creep in through the side door. But again, those that creep in through the side door, don't lose sleep over it. Like, hey man, that's on him, man. I, through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, am following the men that he set up. Starting from the top all the way down to our camp heads, all the way down to the leadership of the camp, man. That's what I'm following, and I find faith and trust. I trust in that, you know.
Safety in it.
It's safety in that, you know. The scriptures speak about there being safety there's safety in the counsel of the wise, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I find safety in that. But again, if you operating on your own, you got to have a strong ability to check yourself, because you got to be your own eyes. You got to literally be able to pinpoint bullshit in your life, and that's why men that be in that spirit, they don't grow as fast. You know, you can keep going, and we probably, like I said, read.
I'll read verse 8.
We'll read verse 8, and we'll close up here.